Isaiah 59 and 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Yes, Aria, back at you with another lesson through the Spirit. So we're giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hoshai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kodash. Give the bonus to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and the house of David is rising. Yes, man, inspired to do this video, urging these precepts to come out, and I'm going to let you know why we're getting into this these particular precepts and some of these words. We're going to look into some of these words, get more acquainted with some of these interesting words. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. That one stuck out with me. And I'm going to let you know, I had a little vision, and I'm going to break down the vision as we're going through this video. The reason why I was inspired to do this video, and the spirit and the precepts just came to me, just pushing, coming around, going around in my head, and I woke up with them in mind, and then I forgot them when I woke up. And then I said, let me try and remember them, and they came back to me. These precepts, what we're going to be going into, Isaiah 59 and 19. That's just one of a couple. So we want to look up the word, and we're going to come back to the blue letter. First, we're going to go to the etymology, the meaning of the word standard. I looked at it a bit earlier. The standard word here means, straight to this point we want to bring out here, military standard, banner. There you have it. In our case, it's the standard of the Most High, his military, according to the precept we're looking at. Particular use in English of this word, but the sense evolution is somewhat obscure. The standard weight and measures were set by a royal ordinance and were known as the King's Standard. Right, well, we got our King's Standard, Yahweh. Yeah, the King, the Most High of the earth, known as the King's Standard. So perhaps the royal standard coming to stand for royal authority. That's right, royal, ultimate royalty. Yeah, what you Christians call God, Yahweh, ultimate royalty, and Yahushua, which what you Christians call Jesus. He saves, he delivers, and he's going to set up that standard. He's setting that standard right now. But he's going to, when you come in, enemy, that's when the standard is going to be lifted up. Yeah, the royal authority, the Most High royal authority, and he's the real royal, and the princes of the power are the real royalties. Yeah, the sons of God. In like manner, setting weight and measures, hence the meaning authoritative, or recognize the example of quality or correctness, meaning rule, principle, or means of judgments. He's going to come, he's going to set that standard of judgments, right? And that is the ultimate standard from the Most High God. Can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with, doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and absolutely will not stop ever until you're dead. Yeah. That's one of my favorite quotes from the Terminator movie, the first Terminator movie. So it's very, very understandable why you can't argue with the Most High, which they probably got that from. You know, they got that from the Most High, from the scripts, because the Most High standard can't be bargained with, man. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, Isaiah 59 and 19, and there might be a part 2 to this. There might be, because these words these are interesting words. From the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Right, you're going to try and come in like a flood? Are you crazy? Yeah, you are. So let's go in, man. The word standard in the blue letter now. That's an interesting word there too. Spirit. As a matter of fact, let's go to spirit first. We know that that's a Rakah Kodash, It's different to the way they pronounce it here. Let's see how they pronounce it.
Strong's H7307. Ruach. Ruach.
Okay. Rakah, Quadash, Rakah. So yeah, man, when the Spirit of the Lord, when they're coming like a flood, the Spirit, wind, breath, yeah, that's how it's described. Mind, spirit, breath, wind of heaven. Yeah. Breath of air. Oh, let me because you know, I knew this was going to rekindle my memory, the vision I had. It wasn't too long ago, about a day or two ago, and I woke up with a couple of precepts. So I said, all right, let me just write it down before I forget, and I wrote them down. Like I say, when I first woke up in the middle of the night, I remembered the dream and I remembered the precepts, but then when I fell back to sleep and I woke up, I couldn't remember the precepts. But then when I thought about it again, they came back. We're going to get into these precepts. So yeah, wind of heaven, right? Breath of air. So this was a case where it was very like Jacob's trouble, and you heard some of my visions in the past. This was very different. It's almost laughable, but if the Most High wants me to bring it out, it has to come out. No doubt through the precepts, man. And it was like there was I was somewhere, and I'm going to just say what I remember. I was somewhere in a place, looked like my old house where I used to live, and there was a breath of fresh air. There was troops outside. There was things happening. Let's just say there was things happening, man. Yeah, the Spirit of the Lord did lift up a standard. The window was open, and what happened? When the window opened, I'm going to have to read the precept again. There was trouble outside the house. And when a window opened, and a big flock of bats, I kid you not, a big flock of bats. And you know the Most High, you know. Well, who can know the mind of the Most High? Right? A big flock of bats came in while the troops came in. A big flock of bats came in and just swooped over and blocked me out, and I was no longer there. I was invisible. So the troops came in, looked around, they didn't see nobody, and they went. But I was there. But a breath of fresh air came in, the Spirit came in the form of bats. I'll tell you something. It felt very, very beautiful. That's the only best way to describe it. When the bats came in and covered me over, and I was invisible to the troops that tried to come in, like the Most High, as it says, when the troops come in, the Most High gonna lift up a standard. And He brought in a breath of fresh air in the form of bats, as you see here, the Spirit, and covered me. And then when they was gone, and it seemed like a long time, but then when the bats lifted off of me and went, I was back to me again. I was visible again, and the troops came in. They didn't know what happened. All they knew, they came in and there was nobody there. The bats covered me, and I was invisible. So when the wind, breath, and spirit, breath, mind of heaven, quarter of wind side, breath of air, breath of fresh air, innit? There you go, man. Spirit, animation, courage, temper, anger, impatient, patient, spirit. But that's the point, really. Prophetic spirit, living, breathing, being in a man and animal, as a gift preserved by God's Spirit, depending at death. Right, your spirit goes when you die. After you die, the spirit goes back to the Most High. Right, so you're back in heaven. But that's what I wanted. Wind, breath, spirit, breath, because that's what happened, and that's the only way I can describe it. Simple and plain, because we want to keep it as simple and plain as possible, so everybody can understand. So that's what happened, right? When the Spirit of the Lord came in, when the enemy came in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord lifted up a standard against them in the form of bats coming in and covering me, hiding me, in the form of the Spirit, or the Spirit in the form of bats coming and flocking over me. If you've seen, anybody seen that movie, Batman, or Morbius, that's out now, I think that came out in June. Morbius, the morphing man he moved from a man into a bat, a so-called doctor that had a blood disorder. And he was, he was in league with bats. Who else was in league with bats? Batman. He was in league with them. He can control them. They was his friend. And also he was able to manipulate the elements, so he was able to fly, and as he was morphing, particularly Morbius the movie. So I just wanted to bring that out, and I'm going to get into some of these precepts. If that's what the Most High wants, that's what the Most High gets.
27. Noose. Noose.
Right, shall lift up a standard. Right, there you have it, man. To flee. Yeah, when the enemy comes in, the Most High going to lift up the standard to do what? To flee, to escape, to flee, to escape, to take flight, to depart, to disappear. Ooh! When the bats came in and covered me over in the spirit in the form of bats, I disappeared. I was invisible. I could have still been there, but they couldn't see me. The bats made me invisible. That was a beautiful dream. The more I think about it, the more I realize, and maybe there's more of it that may come back to me later on. To take flight, that's the spirit of the Lord, man. To depart, to disappear, to fly, to attack. Okay, there you have it, man. To put to flight, to drive hastily, to cause to disappear. Oh, right. I won't come back to that, but there you have it. When the Spirit of the Lord, when the enemy come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord, one more time, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Right. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. So really, that's really the point. Really, that's the point. But in Job chapters, back to the movie we brought out, Batman, because these are the precepts that the Most High had in my mind when I woke up. Job chapters 5 and 22, and these was just going around, circulating around after I woke up out of that vision. Job chapters 5 and 22 says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt they be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Right, because the beasts of the earth, just like Batman and Morbius, yeah, the beasts of the earth, Job chapters 5 and 23, for they shall be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And that is a good feeling. That was a very good feeling. That vision was a very good feeling. You knew the animals had your back. They was at peace with you, and you was at peace with them. They had your back. The Most High, through the Most High, the Spirit was in them. The Most High put his Spirit in them, and they came in the form of a bat to hide me, to cover me. And really, that's the precepts. There's one more. These are the precepts that was going around. We are going to be in league with the animals at the time of Jacob's trouble. And as I like to say, the Most High has many ways to skin a cat. You can come up with the most wildest imagination of what the Most High going to do in your mind. How is he going to deliver us in our mind? You can think of the most outlandish things, the most outrageous thing in your mind, and the Most High might even it might even be even beyond that. Who can know the mind of the Most High? Isaiah 55 and 11. We don't know the mind of the Most High. You might feel like you're in a situation where you can't escape, and bam! As brothers always say, man, Apostle Paul, when he was in prison for the preaching work, I think it's in Acts chapter 16, or is it chapters 12? And it might be chapter 16. And the prisoners was put to sleep by the angels. The angels came along and tapped him on the head, which was a bit more than a tap on the head, shook him up and told him to get up, put on your sandals and put on your garment. We're getting up and we're walking out of there. And they walked through the prison house through past that was a standard being lifted up back then in the book of Acts, the time of a lot of action. That's what it represents. The time of Acts, the book of Acts represents there was a whole heap of action. Yeah, that was the movie. That was a very dramatic part of the movie, and it's going to get dramatic again. So the angel came and tapped him on his shoulder, nice good shake, wake him up out of his sleep, and said, "Get up, put on your garment, put on your sandals, and we're walking up out of this prison here. There's nothing nobody can do. The stewards are sleeping." They put them to sleep. And that was just one example there. And that my dream was the most freshest example that I could give you up to this point. Like I say, the Most High's hand is not cut short. Let's get to another precept that came to my mind. This is another one in Job. Like I said, there was 3 precepts going around in circles in my mind that I, through the Spirit, I said I must bring them out. Job chapters 12 and 7 says, "But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee." Right. Job observed the animals, and also King Solomon. Wise people do that, don't they? They observe the animals and learn from the animals. Even the E's, because they say that he's wiser than Daniel. Some of his planes and some of his kites, and I'm into kites, not so much now, I was into kites. They're shaped like birds. And some of his cars as well. Aerodynamic is called. And they get those shapes from birds. They get them from like bees, and they get them from insects. The eyes of some of the or the lights of some of the cars, they get them from the blue bottle fly. You heard about the fly called the blue bottle, and insects and flies. And you see, that's why if you look at a lot of them very closely, a lot of the cars and some of the planes and a lot of his kites that are made, and a lot of his things that are made, he gets them from observing, as it says there, Job chapters 12 and 7. "Ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee." And Morbius, the movie, his qualities are very similar to bats. Strong, the strength that he has, the sonar radar, or the echolocation, which means, because bats are known that they can't see. We know bats can't see, but they use echolocation to get to their destination or to hunt. They don't see their prey, but they feel them with their echolocation. So they hear very, 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 very keenly hear by the means of echolocation. And we know about the dolphins, the sonar navigation, that a lot of the whales and the dolphin, the killer whale, they use sonar radar. So there's a lot we can learn from animals, as Job said, and also King Solomon said in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7. The psychology of the animals and the psychology of man was given to him. And that's how we learn, yeah? Or speak to each, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. And also plants, observing plants, botany. There's people that talk to plants and people think that they're bonkers. But they will tell you that they speak to the plants, and and the plants hear them, and they grow and they respond just like animals do, because they have spirits in them, they're alive. So yeah, the Spirit said to me, bring out these precepts. I brought them out, Akim. The point is made. Job chapters 12 and 7 says, "But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee." Job chapters 5:22, right? "At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee." Right, that word sticks out with me. League. There's time. I'm gonna go into that word there, because there is time. In league, right? Ox, and they shall be in league with the beasts of the field.
Strong's H1285. Berith.
That's how that's described, right? In league, right? Between men treaty, alliance, league, man to man, consultation. So we're going to be in league, right? Alliance, we're going to be have an alliance, just like Batman has with the bats, and Morbius has with the bats, and Thor has with his hammer, and there's the other one, Martian Man. Oh, he has his strength is his one powerful strength. Oh, he can phase. He uses phase. He can phase. He can appear and reappear, and telepathy. So he's able to manipulate the elements. He's in league with the elements. Thor is in league with the hammer, and the thunder. He's in league with thunder, which we are going to have all the qualities. Once you're in league with the elements, the animals, and all the elements, you are a god. So I wanted to get into that. We're going to be in league, agreement, pledge, man to man, alliance of friendship, alliance of marriage between God and man, right? Alliance of friendship, covenant, divine ordinance with the signs and pledges, covenant mate, right? So that's the point. Covenant, alliance, pledge, in league. Yeah, that's the online biblical usage. Agreement, pledge, treaty, alliance, league with the beast. We're going to be in league. Most High going to make us in league. In that vision I had, I was in league with the bats. And there's other words we can get into, but for another video, another time, another place, another video. But these are the words. But there we have it. The Most High wanted me to bring out those precepts. Job chapters 12 and 7, Job chapters 5 and 23, being in league with the animals and being able to teach and learn from the animals. Job chapters 12, by absorbing them, observing them, and watching them, they teach you things. So we're going to be in league with the animals, like I say, and that's when the Most High, which we are now on a lower level, but when the standard is brought out, yeah, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. The Most High, that's when he's going to lift up a standard. In that vision, is something I know I'll never forget. When bats come, when you feel like your back's against the wall, there's nowhere to run, and the Most High sends bats, puts a spirit on bats to come in through a window like a breath of fresh air and cover over you, and there was loads of them. You didn't have no time to get scared. All you knew that you had to just go down on the floor, and bats covered me over. I was on the floor, loads of bats, and it was just dark. And then once the bats was lifted up, whoever was trying to come in or do something, they had no idea where I was. I was invisible to them. And that's what happened there. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So your wildest dreams won't be able to predict what the Most High is going to do. Your wildest dreams, pun intended, won't be able to predict what the Most High is going to do when the standard is lifted up. Most High has many ways to skin a cat. Right? Last one. Isaiah 59 and 20. The Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. Giving our praises to Yahweh Shemir Shai for putting the Spirit on me and giving me that vision and bringing out those precepts for the power and Spirit of Yahweh Shemir Shai. Lord willing, I hope it was edifying. Abba Ratazar, Lord willing, it was edifying to all the sincere Akim. It's on to the next one.